Hi, I'm Paul Grill, and I'm here today with David Wunderlich from McKesson Specialty. And David has developed a truly amazing and inspiring dashboard for looking at drug safety at McKesson. So, first question, David, is what inspired you to actually create this?
Uh, I think I had three main factors that played into that. Number one was the desire to get people truly excited and interacting with the data. I think that was the first thing. And the other one was just pure survival, right? We were developing very detailed reports, uh, 15, 20 meg Excel spreadsheet type things. Folks were then for multiple consumers of the data, and everybody had a different way of looking at the data. And it became very cumbersome to discuss the data. We spent more time explaining why you can't look at the data in such a way, more times jumping between report A and report B and report C to try to get a holistic picture, and then going to report D and then forgetting what we said about report A, that we really needed to have a wrapper for all this information that was logical and all. And the fact that every program that we develop is different, we needed to have something that was fairly dynamic and fairly reusable. So those were the three main.
Right, and really, I suppose calling it a dashboard is not really that accurate. It's more of a true business intelligence application because it allows all these different stakeholders to get the information that they're looking for in order to make better decisions, which is what BI is all about, right?
Exactly, and to have the ability to still export to Excel or go get my Webby document or print something or yes, most definitely.
Right.
It's not just the drill down, it's the functionality that folks still want to have. So yes.
Right.
That they're expecting in an application.
And I've seen this, and I'm absolutely bowled over by it because you didn't just use the standard components. You actually created new things, new functionality that isn't there right out of the box just by saying, well, wouldn't it be nice if?
Exactly.
So can you show us a few of those?
Sure. So without getting into having to go into the development toolkit and whatnot,
Yep.
we figured out ways of doing things. One of the most important is, it's very easy to click on a row and have things change. But what if you want to know what's going on with this particular spot here, right? And how do you create that XY intersection? So basically what we did was we created a scorecard object, threw it on there, defined it, and through the various built-in functionality allowed us to basically do that without spending a whole bunch of time building a custom object. The only problem with it is it's not as dynamic as I would like, right? If you had instances where you've got 3 versus 7 versus 12.
Right.
But it does the job, and it does the job fairly nicely.
Right. And again, I can see from the dashboard itself, I mean, there's an incredible amount of information available here.
There is. I mean, this was meant to allow internally folks from finance, client service managers, operations folks to interact with the data and see what was going on and make some business decisions. It allows the pharmaceutical companies, whether you're calling on prescribers and you're a sales manager for prescribers, or whether you're working with the pharmacies or whatnot, or at the FDA and needing to know the basic health and what are these numbers because we've got to send out some information quickly on enrollments. Right there, able to go. Do we have any barriers to access, right? Again, we're expecting there to be so many folks in California. That's great. Not so many folks in Hawaii. That's what we're expecting. But, Texas, we should have a bunch of folks. What's going on there? Let's drill into the data. Now let's go into the detailed Webby report to see, hey, are our top guys there at least? Or do we have all of our folks at Baylor, right? And nobody else is in Dallas or anything.
Right. And again, you're not restricted here because, as you said, you can actually export some of the data sets
Most
straight
definitely.
to Excel. You can launch web intelligence reports directly from the dashboard, passing
Exactly.
parameters in there.
And eventually, hopefully, other dashboards.
Yes.
I mean, that's our goal.
Yeah. And in terms of how were you able to do this with so much data and get this kind of performance?
Basically, we relied heavily on the InfoBurst application and the XML caches, cache queries, and the two-dimensional pivot tables. So direct data access, although we could use Webby reports and all, our data warehouse unfortunately is not at to where it can really do what I wanted it to do. It was quicker for us to write queries and all, and use that as the source.
And how much data would you say is in this cache?
You mean by rows? Or?
Yeah, just numbers of rows. Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Right.
With the enrollment, I can guarantee you that we have at least 400,000. Patient education discussions, probably more in the neighborhood of 150,000. Assessments are probably 150,000. Contacts and fulfillments are probably the smaller.
Right.
They're probably under.
So adding it all up together, I mean, it's close to 1 million rows of data
Easily.
being accessed easily. Over 1 million rows of data. This is fantastic. Show us some more. What's this view trend?
View trend allows you to literally go in and for a selected stakeholder and enrollment status, allows you to literally go in and see the trend for the whole year. And we've got some back-end processes that dynamically figure out what points to plot based on a 60-point scale. So whether you're plotting 3 months, plot every other day, whether you're plotting a year, plot every week at that point, every 7 days, whether you're doing program to date, if it's a 3-year program, again, how can you get the most amount of data on the screen?
Right. So you can just click through this and look at the different trends in terms of.
Definitely.
Right.
So we can go to the rolling 60 days, which is obviously 60 days, and again using the standard sliders. We want to do patients, most definitely, and then if we want to grab any incomplete and canceled, deactivated as well, and by state as well. And we have, I think the alerts only come up with the current year because you need so much data to do the alerts with the rules that we've set.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the alerting is a really nice feature as well. And I think I heard you say something about starting to do predictive with this dashboard as well.
Most definitely. Right now, we're more of this dashboard's more of a summary dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
The next level is obviously getting into the analytics and predicting, okay, when are prescribers going to re-enroll? When are stakeholders going to re-enroll? Are they going to, how many re-enroll after we send them an email? 60 days before their enrollment terminates, 30 days, so forth. So we can better staff up. So pharmaceutical companies make sure that they're sending out messages so we aren't getting barriers to access. Because the last thing you want to do is have a patient go to their doctor and say, oh my gosh, I can't write this because I didn't re-enroll. And it's going to take me a little bit to re-enroll. Right? The re-enrollment process is very easy, but it's still time. Right?
Yeah.
And if you've got a cancer patient who needs medication, or if you've got somebody who's going into shock and needs a shot real quick, and you've got all the proper resuscitation gear and all, you need to do that, otherwise you're not compliant, and then the FDA gets in and various things. So
Wow.
it's ensuring the continuum of the continuity of patient care.
Yeah. You also saw that you started to make use of infographics in your dashboard as well.
We've got some plans to make use of infographics. I mean, it's not that difficult to take an image
Right.
that somebody's drawn up and then drop your objects, whether it be text boxes, graphs, whatnot, and through dynamic visibility, which is standard with Excelsius, turn things on and off.
Right.
So,
Yes, I think I saw in the patient education discussion you had a very nice summary there, yes, on the left-hand side. I
Yes.
love that. I mean,
This-
it really draws your eye to
Most definitely, and I
key
think
metrics.
this is where we are starting to go to, making those boxes a little bit bigger, so they can also take the place of a graph, right? So, because some things lend itself better to graphics and whatnot. But yes, we are starting to do that more with alerts, and I envision a landing page of sorts with just that information.
Right.
Showing the health, and then being able to either go off to another dashboard, if you're specifically interested in re-enrollment. Here's another one of those with re-enrollment data, and here's some larger graphs so you can look at things and all. And getting more into some of the modeling so you can start playing with things as well.
Right, and the response of the users, I mean, moving from
everybody's-
27 or whatever it was
Yeah,
reports to
everybody's
this.
very happy. I mean, there will always be a place for detailed reports, right? But if somebody's spending 20 to 30 minutes a day, and you've got 10 or 20 people doing the same thing, slicing and dicing the data. Everybody loves Excel. Pivot tables are great. I use pivot tables, right? It's a great way of exploring the data. But boy, that's a lot of lost man hours, right?
Right.
And to be able to go here and say, my enrollments are this is up 50% from last year, down 20% from the previous month, but we're expecting that because out in California we've done X and that was our goal.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I love this from the standpoint that it truly is an end-to-end business intelligence application. I mean, that's what it is. Like you said, you can save to Excel. You
Right.
can,
Right.
you can spawn additional reporting from it. You can do write back of information. You can do alerting. This is more than just, a static
Definitely.
scorecard. Yes.
Definitely. And then the tool allowed us to do this, and I forget how long it took, but it wasn't much. It wasn't more than 2 months, and I think it was more like a month and a half, and that was with one full-time,
Person.
person and myself at 30 to 50%, depending on what was going on that day.
Yeah, I mean, that's remarkable. 1 million plus rows of data, an incredible amount of information at people's fingertips, and fun to use as well.
Exactly. And hopefully, as we start putting in the infographics and some of the other things, it'll be even more fun to use.
Yep.
And we'll keep things fresh, because how do you keep people coming back, right? And I think that's going to be key.
Absolutely awesome. Well, thank you so much,
No
David.
problem.
Appreciate
No
your
problem.
time. Thanks.